Hello and welcome back to another video for Final Fantasy XIV with me, Meoni. Welcome to my island sanctuary. This is where I got to after yesterday. I didn't really rush through a lot of things like a lot of people. Some people are already ranked 10. It's crazy, right? It's crazy. But if you're just starting out, welcome to your island paradise. This is mine. It's rank 6. So I did a little bit of stuff. I created this landmark here. Which is the tree house, which is beautiful, overlooking the ocean. It is raining right now, and rain's good because it means that I don't have to water my crops, which is infinitely a nice situation. But yeah, I've just sort of logged in, and I thought we'd share the experience together. But it is really, truly everything I've ever wanted from this kind of like farming / own your own island simulation. And there are lots of comparisons you can make to other games. Stardew Valley for one. And, you know, obviously Animal Crossing for another. But yeah, I thought it would be just a nice idea just to walk around my farm and show my progress. And share my thoughts of what we've got so far. The island is actually, you know, quite large. There are parts of it that I've not able to actually go and explore yet. Presumably gated behind a variety of unlocks and things like that. But it is truly massive, really, when you think about it. This is where this is at the minute. The hideaway opens up segments every time you rank up the island and such. And we've got another quest here to clear brambles, presumably to unlock this area, which I need tools to actually get to that point. So I think I need to be rank 7 for that. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, this is the first time on my farm I get to collect from my animals. So I'm curious what comes from them all. You can capture animals in various modes, look. So there's like a mode button, and you can go on the capture thing. And you can use nets, and you can change the type of net. When you unlock them, you can build slightly bigger nets to get slightly bigger creatures. That probably means that there is an entirely new section below that. But yeah, we've been live streaming this. Yesterday I live streamed this in the evening, and it was just incredible. We've got the ability to gather. We've got the ability to sow seeds. We've got the ability to water those seeds, to gather from those plants, feed our animals, pet our animals, beckon our animals, and also capture. So yeah, it's going well. I'm enjoying this. So let's see what we get from the app Carlu. One of the animals. So we got Fleece, Sanctuary Fleece. That gives 50 island experience. That's actually quite impressive. That's quite a lot of experience per gather. We got an egg. All of this stuff, by the way, goes into your island sanctuary inventory. It doesn't go into your chaotic real inventory, which is a good thing, because mine's terrible. And everything you gather goes in here. So it's really good. And it's got different tabs. We've got our produce, all of our seeds, look. We've got our stock stores. Yeah, the leavings. We've got tools. So there's another, 4 up there, 2 there for me to upgrade. Very interesting stuff. And this is only the first phase, right, of Island Sanctuary. They plan to add more in the future. So Coblins give Sanctuary fangs. Okay. I'm guessing the sheep give fleece. This is the black sheep, the honorary caracal, which is on a respawn like timer. It's like a rare. There's a lot of rares, actually, and it seems to be random when you actually use your net on them, if you get it or not. I saw some people in my chat on Twitch say that it took them over 6 attempts with nets of 6 spawns of him, because sometimes he just runs away, rare monsters do. And then I got it on my second net. So, or was it? It was the third net, and my girlfriend got it on her third. So yeah, what does this give? Ooh, Sanctuary Milk. Now, will that be the same as the Lost Lamb? No. So the normal sheep give fleece, and the caracal gives us milk. That's interesting, actually. That's going to become that's going to come quite necessary to know this information. I'm sure there are probably people who have posted this stuff online. This is one of my newest ones, so I had to build this like the higher level net to get this. this Glyptodon, which is obviously a armadillo. What do you give me? Scales, presumably? Sanctuary Carapace. Now, that's interesting, because one of my work order type things, material allocation things, was to get a carapace. So that's how you get those. It makes sense, right? A shelled creature. Oppo Oppo's over here just chilling out. How you doing, buddy? You're going to give me claws. Okay. And the squibble. What does a squibble give? The squibble gives me another claw. Okay, so it's nice to have a good variety of creatures. That's basically what I've understood from this. The more you have a variety of creatures, the better your chances of getting a good variety of items are. As you can see from here, we got fleece, claws, an egg, carapace, fang, and milk. So there's actually 3 other items we could get from creatures that we don't currently have. So if we were to get rid of some of the sheep, for example, and get some other variety of creature, probably cut down on the 2 animals that give claws as well. But obviously, as we move into higher recipes of crafting for the workshop, we might need something that produces more of this stuff. So that's what I got. I'm not sure on the timer of when that's back up for gathering, but let's go feed our friends here. So we're in feeding mode. Just feed these guys, make sure they're fully stuffed. By the way, if they don't have their name above them in feeding mode, it means that they don't need to be fed. It's as simple as that. So it's actually really simple to make note of. So let's get the goblins. We've got 16 pieces of food. That's plenty to feed everybody before I have to create some more. But yeah, it really is just the most relaxing thing ever. And as much as some people went out of their way to do excessive amounts of grinding, 10 experience at a time, just remember to take this at your own pace, right? You can rush things ahead, or you can just relax and let the days unfold. And, you know, there are definitely ways of min-maxing your time. And I would say that the best thing to do would be to gather as much as you need for your work orders, your material allocations for the season. One season is exactly 1 week. Just gather the required few bits, not this many, but this many. And, yeah, and then do it a week at a time. You can do it actually 2 weeks in advance, which is interesting. The landmark here, if you're interested, gives a buff to give productivity. I can't remember the percentages, but it increases the productivity of mammoths building on your island and doing stuff. Right, so let's just double check that they're happy. So you can review the status of our animals. So they're all pretty much fine, but are a bit glum because it's raining. Well, yeah, that's going to happen. How's my crops doing? They're all fully watered because obviously, you know, it's raining. Fully drenched. Make sure they don't go down. So I unlocked the second pasture, the second crop area, sorry, and I've put cabbages on there. I'm not really sure why, but I decided cabbages would be a good idea. Presumably then it unlocks another section up there as well. That'll be quite cool. I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, it doesn't seem like we need to do anything because the rain's doing it for us. So that's nice, isn't it? Day-night, weather cycles and stuff. And then over here we've got our main hub, obviously. This is our like town hall, if you want to call it, the cozy cabin. And that's just chilling out. One of the top tips I'll give you is that this blue currency, Seafarer's Cowrie, is quite a limited currency. So whilst it is tempting to get, you know, glamour and mounts and minions and pixie wings and hairstyles and orchestrum rolls and housing items and barding and all of those really sexy dyes and materia, try to limit yourself if possible. Because my girlfriend got stuck, essentially, and a few people have been stuck. Basically, they went, oh, blue currency, let's spend it. And then they realized that some of the bits yesterday required you to have 2,000 calories thousands apiece to build 2 workshops. So, yeah. I mean, obviously you can get what you want, and that's not going to be a problem. But if you want to, prioritize your time and keep progressing the island each day, I think early on, at least, try to hold back. That would be my top tip for you. Whether you stick to that top tip or not, it's totally up to you. But I think they need to put somewhere a disclaimer. So this is the workshop then, as I was talking about. You talk to the taskful taskmaster next to your main base once you set one up. And he brings back all of the items, the Seafarer Cowries, from, you see that 1,120 island experience as well. So what you can do is you can build things. I can't show you the previous day because that's over, but you'll see that if you mix things together of certain types, you get efficiency bonuses that actually gives you more items in return and more experience. So you can see how you can chain. This is just a base example that they give you in a tutorial of potions and fire sand rotating together. Look, and if you chain them together, for the most part, I should have gone for a fire sand here. In fact, what we can do is we can do that, right? And then you can set what you're building. Now, let's just be very clear about this. This does not mean that you need to go for 8-hour crafts every time. Bear in mind, the harder the craft or the longer the craft, the more of the interesting items you'll need. For example, the silver ear cuffs requires coral, right? You might not have access to coral out the door. You certainly don't have access to silver or tin sand. Tin sand, you require a shovel, which is rank 5. So just bear that in mind. Don't just go, oh, let's build the longest thing. If anything, it's better to stick to the shorter timers for 2 reasons. The materials are easier to obtain, as you can see. Second of all, you get the same amount of experience, we understand, for your island. Also, you get the cowries much faster, right? So if you're doing this over the progression of a day, perhaps you just log in, do a bit of Island Sanctuary here and there, much more healthy. You can get some cowries, potentially sell some stuff. Buy some stuff with them and still have some left over. So my recommendation would be obviously to try get efficiency bonuses. And there's nothing stopping you from mixing and matching. It will tell you if this happens. So we've got a new workshop, a 3rd workshop that's just been built, and I need to set this up. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick to the same old schedule: potions, fire sand. All right, potions, fire sand. Mostly because I just have a lot of these materials, and I think it would be better if I stuck to things that I can, effectively create without needing to go out of my way to do further work. So anything you set up, right? So here's the next day, so we can set up a workshop for, again, let's do some of these. You'll notice on the left, I've tried to create some other things, like wooden things together combo. Look, you got the chair and the handicraft here, the Makor, I can't even pronounce that, which is on the 6-hour page. I'm sorry, I'm not very good at understanding how to pronounce everything. I'm sure it is a wonderful word. But we're going to set this up nice and simple. So I think a good variety of things. And also you'll notice you can fit a certain amount of things in per day, right? Whereas if you do the longer stuff, there's less of them that can fit, right? This is now stuck here. So what you want to do, ideally, is set up your entire week. This is a week, a season. These are 7 days. You'll notice that the weekends are rest days, right? You can actually change the rest days as well. So instead of Saturday and Sunday, you can change that to like Monday and Tuesday. So this is really cool. It means that you can prioritize when you go and do Island Sanctuary crafting and stuff, and when it's a good idea to take a break. So the game actually actively lets you choose that. But obviously we're not going to have a break. Because that would be a waste of our physical time. But yeah, we're going to just plop a few more bits on here because I've got a lot of these particular mats. As you could probably imagine, after gathering. But you just want to set this stuff up. And if it comes up that I don't have the materials for something, that's fine. So, for example, if I set up Ironworks ribbon, yeah, oh, I actually have the mats for that. Ironworks Cavalier's hat, right? So when I add something like that, it says insufficient materials. If it gets to day 5, right, and I don't have the materials to craft this in the inventory of the Island Sanctuary, right, then it will not craft it. So this adds the mats needed for this to a list. And that list is review materials, right? If you go current season, that's current week, right? So cycle is day, season is week, and then current and next season is this and the following week, right? You'll notice I need 2 sanctuary feathers and 2 island hemp, right? These are materials that are locked behind much later stuff. The hemp is locked behind rank 6 because you get a scythe, and I presume the feathers are rank 7 or 8, I'm guessing. So that's higher stuff. So what I could do is I could accumulate loads of things that I obviously physically cannot create right now. And the more things I set up for the week ahead, right, they get added to the review materials tab. And then what I do is I have a list here in the deficit of how many I need to go out and gather. So what you can do is you can set up your entire Ironworks agenda to make blue currency for you and never touch it again, right? You could be as active or as little active with Island Sanctuary as you want and still get the rewards, because it's the blue currency that gives you the rewards in the first place. It's not actually the experience and things like that. There are achievement rewards that give you blue coins and things like that, as well as experience for the island, and sometimes when you rank up you get blue calories, but it's not always the case. So that's my top tip for that, would be to try and line up your week, right? Obviously with things that you can go and get would be the best, and probably even the following week. But don't be afraid of assigning this stuff and then going, actually, you know, I want to change that wooden chair into something else, because you can at any time. But it does update your, I don't know why I keep clicking that, the review materials tab. So you'd have to obviously go and gather that stuff. If you want a quick access to that, oh, I pressed the wrong button like a fool. There's on this menu here, there's the material allocation tab. If you click that, it brings up the same thing. You can even have this out and resize this, obviously, whilst you're out and about. And every time you gather, it disappears for a few seconds and then comes back. You don't have to even reopen it. So that's another top tip with that. Obviously, I'm making things nice big scale so you can see them. It's the same with buildings as well. If you click on like a vacant plot or something you were building, if you were to click on it and then press the review button, it won't do it right now because I've already... Oh, it will do it right now. Okay, so if I wanted to build this particular granary, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It depends if it's available. You'll realize, oh, this is because this is an upgrade. Okay, to upgrade my granary then, so I could go to the granary and I could inspect it and it will tell me at the placard what I needed. But you can also do it through this menu. You press the review button on any of these things, really, when you're upgrading them, and it will tell you what you need for that. So you'll see I need island hemp. So that way you can have that open wherever you go. All of the menus that you ever need are here, and if you get stuck, the guide is really good. It's really, really good. We're barely scratching the surface, but it's such a good system. We can place our minions around and they have unique dialogue. It's as simple as selecting a place that doesn't have a minion, which is the second cropland. And then we just grab a minion. Let's say we wanted to put, I don't know. Let's put, what should we put down? Let's put Caduceus, because he's awesome and he's a snake. And then you put him over there. There you go. And they don't do anything. It's just if you want to have stuff there. You can actually place more than one minion there as well, if I remember correctly. But it still counts towards your total, right? But 9 out of 40. Yeah. So you could technically place just a load of minions in one section. So, for example, you could put Omega and alpha together. And there's various interactions, but I won't go into that. I'll let you have that fun yourself. The granary then, this is another thing when you finally do get to unlock that. It allows you to send them on missions, right? So as you can see, I sent them on a simple mission. Just a forewarning, every mission you send them on, right, costs 50 of the blue currency. The advantage to this is that each of the expedition areas has a chance to bring back rare resources, and these rare resources are only available via the mammoths going on expeditions, okay? So there might be some crafted things that give you a lot of blue carries, right? But one of the requirements for the handicraft is this island hammerhead, for example, right? Which is only available from this expedition to Bending Beaches. You understand? It also gives you some other mats that you probably have. It does give you access to stuff that you don't necessarily have the tools for as well sometimes. So let's collect those. Boom, like that. We've got our items. So if we wanted to send out more, this is the menu, but it's 50 per, and you can actually set up the entire week. So if you were not going to be around, this would be ideal, right? You'd spend 350 blue carries, which makes me hurt just looking at that, and you can send it wherever you want. But you can only at this time choose, from what I can tell, one of the locations. As you can see, Mossy Mountains brings back island silver ore. So silver ore might be used, obviously, as you saw, for many of those crafts, but that is the only way to potentially get that, right? As far as I know. Island spruce logs, look. Raw island garnets. An island elysium. Yeah, so obviously I want to send my dude out on a mission. But now I know about the silver. We're going to send him out to the Mossy Mountains. And we're going to spend 50 of our carries. Honestly, I like to do this a day at a time, because you don't know what amount of carries you're going to need as we're progressing and unlocking. So this is a safe bet. Another top tip is to just do it a day at a time, really, for the first few. And they'll be off. And in exactly... exactly tomorrow at 9 a.m., we will be, my local time, I will be able to get probably some silver ore. Very cool stuff. So other things that you might get stuck here, by the way. This is another thing I saw people complain about is, what do I do when I get here? Basically, the progression of your island is locked behind your island rank, okay? And then the build menu. So when you get a new rank, it's always worthwhile to click the crafting log and see if there is something else you can craft. This includes feed. This includes restraints as well. You unlock this one specifically at rank 6, the restraint, which lets you get medium-sized animals. And there'll be one after that, obviously, as well. But this is still early days, so you can imagine the basis of Island Sanctuary really going places from this point onwards. I know this video is a lot of rambling, but it's very difficult to sort of prioritize information without just showing you what it's like. These are obviously the facilities up here that I've unlocked. A workshop and a granary. And then you also get a second landmark. I've built, or I'm currently building, what appears to be a bathhouse. A boiling bathhouse. That'll be done at 11 a.m., which is not long from now, actually. Less than 10 minutes. And, yeah. So basically, the island is your oyster. You can tailor this the way you like. But when you come to things like this is my current blocker, for example. He basically tells you that you need the calories to hire a team. It's always 1,000 calories, by the way, to deforest an area. So it's always worth to not spend those blue coins. And I will also need the tools. So the tools he's asking for are presumably locked behind rank 7 or 8, right? So that is gated off. So they gate your progression on the island of upgrades and things like that, and what you can actually gather behind the tools you have. So as you build up from there, you get the scythe, right? This allows you to get hemp, for example, and other materials. Shovel allows you to get sand and clay from riverbeds and dry areas. The hammer allows you to, get better stuff from rocks, right? So limestone and things, and the hatchet, obviously, because you start with it. And it's the same with feed as well. You'll notice that that gives them a different mood setting when they get this stuff. But of course, you actually have to produce stuff to be able to do that, right? So you produce the feed. And it's the same all the way through. It's a very addictive mode. Simply the most addictive thing is just getting on a mount, putting on gather mode, and going out into the wilderness and just clicking things. But you only get 10 experience per collection, right? So obviously the worst thing you could possibly do mentally, unless you enjoy it, which I actually do, would just be to find a place and start clicking, right? So we don't need any outside experiences. We don't need any of this class job nonsense. It is all separate. The only prerequisite for Island Sanctuary is to be 90 as a result of finishing the Endwalker MSQ, right? That's basically the requirement. I'm not really 100% on board with that decision. It does make sense, honestly, for you to have to complete the MSQ to be given that kind of carrot on a stick, so to speak. But I don't necessarily think it was the best decision, locking it behind that many hours. But the rewards are really cool, and it doesn't dissuade me from probably doing this on some alts as well. So yeah, we got Island Vine and Sugarcane there with the Scythe. Ordinarily, we would just get the vines, right? It's like with this, with the hammer, we get the limestone. So there are places on the island as well that give you benefits to certain things, right? Say, for instance, I'm looking for limestone, right? I could go to the gathering log, right? Once I've actually mined some before, and I can click on something. So let's say I do want that limestone badly. You'll notice it will tell me the most dense concentration that it knows of, okay? That doesn't mean that that's the only place on the island that has limestone. In fact, there's limestone dotted around everywhere, and there might be nice little patches, but this is where it's recommending. Same for cotton, for example, which is another thing you can get with a scythe at rank 6, would be down here. And it's just a simple case of opening your map and matching that up, right? Peak point, for example. So this is really useful. A lot of people go, where do I get lots of vines? Well, use your gathering log. Honestly, it is the best thing. Where do I get clams? Well, an underwater section over here to the north in this particular bay. Now, I guess, nearly cleared the gathering log at this point, but yeah, there's a good variety of help menus here. You're not alone, and it's mostly contained. It's really good. Now, if I wanted to grind out experience, which isn't really something that I would advise, right? I really wouldn't advise that to people because, do you really want to do it? I would advise this area. So this section here on the map, it's riverbed next to pristine pond and northward stream between the two, right, is amazing, right, for experience grinding. Say, for instance, you're just 200 away. You just start with one of the rocks over there, and then you go around in a circle, right? And by the time that you're done, the first node will have respawned. So, in general, I think it takes 10 nodes for the first node to respawn. 10 or 11 nodes, right, if I remember correctly. So we can gather that, obviously, and then we gather this one. Boop, boop, boop. And obviously you get faster the longer you do this, right? You go up here, go around, gather said tree or whatever. There are faster ways of doing this, but you'll notice that your rocks are probably already back. You'll notice that there are loads of nodes around. So find yourself a nice little patch of things that you want to gather, right? There are plenty of places like this, even further down the river with sand as well, for example. But you'll notice that rock's back again, right? So we've just created a loop. It's as simple as that. So if I had like an extra 100 of resources, experience to get to a next rank, you can bet your butt that I would come down to somewhere like here and gather, right? Because this is a good source of limestone. Again, something that I'm going to need a lot of, depending on what handicrafts I go into. But also, the experience is good because it's dense. If we go a bit further down, one of my other favorite places, I'm not sure if it is down here now, the other way, right? Where is all the sand? Down here. I think it is down here. So there's little patches that you get used to over time. And obviously you learn the lay of the land the more you do this stuff, right? And that's part of it. You learning how your island reacts to your presence and the best routes to things. And it's always very exciting to unlock a new tool and then suddenly find out there's a new material that you can gather from something. So that's why I would also recommend not going too ham when you first start out. This is the area, by the way, with gathering, because just do the tutorial's requirements, like the quest that'll be on the side of the screen, like gather 6 wood or whatever and all that. The reason is the faster you progress the island, the quicker you will unlock the tools, and the more time you spend gathering instead of unlocking those tools, the less items you get. Because as you can see with the shovel, I'm getting sand and clay, right? Ordinarily, I'd probably just get the sand. You know what I mean? So this is another one of my rotations, the one I usually use. So you've got a good selection of things here. But for the most part, I wanted as much clay and sand as I possibly could get my hands on. So I decided that this would be a really good route. And by the time you're finished with that little tree, you're back on this rock node. And then we're back to the clay again, which is lovely jubbly, isn't it? So if you need sand and clay, this is where to come, at the eastward stream. This is one of my favorite little rotations, honestly. But you'll notice that if you set yourself a goal of, oh, I want to create this quite expensive handicraft of mats, and you're like, well, I need X amount of sand and clay, it passively sends you out here, and before you know it, you've already earned plenty of experience for your island. It's crazy how quick that goes down, even 10 experience at a time. But like I say, I wouldn't advise this. There's no reason to do this. You can totally do it passively. Send your work order out, with your mammoths, and then come back the next day, gather your crops, for example, or whatever, collect stuff from your animals, and upgrade passively. But personally, the reason I want to get there at some decent pace, not world record pace or anything like that, would be so I can show off those items, the rewards on the vendor in videos, right? Obviously, being a content creator that does that, that's where my priority comes in. But it's a lot of fun. Take it as fast or as slow as you want. Remember, it's your island. There is no inflection on PvP or PvE in the grand scheme of things. It is truly a fantastic element of the game. And if you get stuck, open your guide, right? This is just full of information on crops and watering cycles, and it's brilliant. It is really, truly brilliant. Anyway, let me know what you think. This was my first impressions, as well as, I guess, a few tips on Island Sanctuary. Hopefully this was helpful. If not, then it is what it is, right? But this is the only way I'd figure out how to get my opinions across. It has a lot of promise. I hope they continue to add things to it. And of course, I'll be doing lots of other guides. I want to do a guide video on where to get all of the rare animals. When we decide where all of those are, when I've finished ranking up, that'll be what we do, as well as like some other bits and pieces as well for the Island Sanctuary. Probably going to guides on how to maximize profits with cowries as well at some point. Anyway, much love. Enjoy the rest of your day. More 6.2 stuff on the way. I have crops to gather and animals to tame, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye. Truly is an island paradise, I love it. Absolutely love it.